Good morning, everyone, and Cloud9 blessings. My name is Bishop Cloud. I'm a Catholic Orthodox bishop. Um, and so, I've been around the block once or twice theologically. But I'm also the superior for our order of exorcists. Yes, exorcists. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I wanted to talk about the visions and dreams that my family has had. Mine tend to be warning dreams to warn the people in my social circle and on Facebook and whatnot. Um, but my daughter and my wife have had rapture dreams. And I will describe all of them, including mine, uh, for your edification and hopefully exhortation to draw closer to God. If you're, on that fence, just playing church instead of being the church, that's a big difference. And it will matter when the Lord comes back. So first, I want to give you my daughter's rapture dream. She came to me about 2 months ago or so, and she was real excited, and she wanted to tell me about her dream. I said, absolutely, what's up? And she said, we were all in the house, she was playing, and all of a sudden, a white light came from the sky, and we started leaving the ground. She said it was her, me, her mom, and her brother, and we were all going together and flying through the air really fast. She said after what seemed to her like a minute or two, she flew, and us flew with her, into a bright area filled with as she described it, a brilliant white light. But as Christians, we know that that's the Shekinah glory of the Lord. And so we were in the presence of God. She said she saw Jesus and that he was beautiful and she really loved him. And we were all standing, the family and I were all standing looking at Christ along with a lot of other people, as she says. And that's where her dream ended. But she was real excited. She thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. But my wife had a rapture dream maybe a month and a half ago, shortly after my daughter had her dream, that she was laying in bed and she was lifted up. And we all lifted up, but it was primarily focused on her. And she went up through the sky, up through the stars and the clouds and everything else, and appeared in, again, a brilliant white area with clouds, the Shekinah glory of the Lord just permeating every bit of it. And she said the pure love and joy she felt from the Lord toward her was indescribable, inexplicable. And so as she looked at Jesus, it was like looking at everything she could have ever wanted in life in one person. And of course we know he is everything. But she said as she looked at Christ, he opened his arms, and as he did so with a big smile on his face, he had a red heart on his chest. And it was like the hearts that you would see like on a playing card or something like that, but it was a symbolic to her of Christ's immense love and care and compassion for his children, you and me, who are believers, who would die for our faith. But shifting gears, and that's of course where her dream ended, but shifting gears to mine. Many years ago, I had a vision, and it's weird when I feel a vision coming on. It makes me want to sit back and seclude myself. And I kind of do like the old prophets in the Old Testament. I just sit there and I said, Lord, speak, for your servant hears. And I was taken to a seashore At the time, we lived out in Oregon in the United States, and I saw the sea roll back, so that only dry land was where the water was just there a minute ago, and it drew back, and I knew immediately that a tsunami was coming. And this massive wave came toward me, and I basically stood there in awe with my mouth agape, and I'm thinking, I ain't got nowhere to run. This puppy's going to hit the ground, and everything around is going to be destroyed. Well, as soon as it was about to hit, I was taken to the Shasta area. Mount Shasta in California, real famous place. And I saw the volcano itself going off. And then I started seeing fireballs from the sky coming, and I saw just probably thousands of people running around in fear and just terrified. And my vision ended with this one man reaching out his hand to me with a panic look on his face for me to help him. But then the vision ended. I took that to mean at the time there were some things going on in the parish I was serving, which did come true. So that was part of that. But as time went on, I've become aware that it's actually a dual prophecy for what's coming during the tribulation period. Now, do I know that a tsunami is going to hit the West Coast? I don't know, but I do know the Cascadia Fault is ready to rock with a 10-point, and scientists and geologists have been saying that for a very long time. But a vision that I had recently, and I'll jump around on a couple of my visions, but a vision I had just yesterday, I guess it was, or the day before, was I was taken to a road that had trees on both sides. It was a 4-lane highway, and there were like trees or bushes in the middle of that highway that separated both sides. And I'm flying near the ground in my vision. I'm not walking or anything like that. And I look to my left, and I see a fiery mushroom cloud. And through the whole vision, I'm not reacting emotionally or anything. I'm just strictly observing. And then I look to my right, and I see a city that looked really big. And there were fires. You heard screams and fighting in the streets and everything else. And the buildings were off whitish, yellowish color. Had two main buildings that I personally saw in the dream that were probably 20, 30 stories high at best. Excuse me. And immediately I turned back to the road, and then I was taken up into the sky, and the vision itself ended. But then God's voice spoke in my it felt like my skull itself was vibrating. It was so intense. And he said, I've spoken desolations. Hold strong to the faith. Do not look left or right, basically. Maintain your faith. Speak the words that I have told you to speak. And he really pushed me to share this particular vision with folks. And so I'm sharing with you. And I'll probably share this with others as well. And I have already shared all of this on my Facebook social media profile as well. And of course, you have folks that give you flack for having visions or dreams or whatnot. But you know what? If God gives you a vision or a dream, you speak it if he tells you to. Because Joel, the book of Acts, all speak. Your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. Which means I guess I'm still a little young, even though I don't feel it some days. But there's been so many visions that God has given me, it would take me an hour, at least, to share them all. But I know for time's sake and for YouTube's sake, I'm not going to drone on and on about it. Other than the fact that it is high time for God's people to stop playing church and to start being the church. God has told us through Christ many times, if you reject me before men, I will reject you before my Father. If you deny me. If you say, Jesus is just this, yada, yada, yada. Christ, when you stand in judgment before the Father, will say, I don't know this person at all. That's why, and this is one of the most frightening things that every Christian must consider. Jesus said, on that day, many will stand before me and say, Lord, Lord, didn't I prophesy? Didn't I cast out demons? Didn't I do all of these things in your name? And he will say, depart from me. I never knew you. So how do we know Christ in this day and age? We stand firm on the scriptures that God has spoken through his prophets, his apostles. We stand firm in the knowledge that Jesus Christ is still the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. Think on these things. God bless, and I hope you have a wonderful day.